Wilson.
First of all, thank you for drinking our Jarritos. Because we have about 1,792,000 bottles, so now we are one less. So thank you for doing your part.
I noticed that. Every flavor under the sun.
Yes, yes. It's so awesome to have you here.
Thank you.
I mean, I can't even put into words how amazing this is. And to sit in the back and to watch you perform, you guys, is this not amazing? Did you ever think in your entire adult lives you would be able to share a room? Look at you all. You're like, no, Carolyn, don't even finish that sentence.
Well, this is pretty amazing for me, too. I mean, I said that before we played, that we've never gone this small before, and that was really true.
Were you trying to
Except
insult?
for-
Were you insulting us?
No, I meant this intimate, really.
It's cool, right?
Except for when I was a child and we were still living at our parents' house and playing for them, you know, I mean.
I'm going to take that as a compliment.
Yeah, it's a high compliment, believe
No,
me.
it's awesome. And I know with the Ann Wilson thing, which is your solo tour, you know, you've been playing smaller venues. And I have to tell you, girl, it's working for you.
Thank you.
Smaller venues and Ann Wilson are A-OK.
Yeah. I love it.
And you know what's so funny is, you know, we're listening to you do these 4 songs. And the first song, I'm like, okay, yeah. And then the second song, I'm like, well, whoa. And then the third song, and then Crazy on You. I'm like, Ann, I keep thinking it can't get any better.
Well, thank you. I like to think that I know how to put a playlist together by now, after all these years.
I'm going to give
Thank
you an
you.
A.
Thank you.
That voice, your voice, how, after all of these years, after hitting all those notes, what, I have so many questions. What do you do to your voice, besides Jarritos, before you come on stage? Like, what is the cocktail in that throat before you come on stage?
Oh, I don't have a magic bullet.
What?
It's a part of my body like any other muscle or joint or anything else. I mean, it has to be respected and warmed up and taken care of. You know, you can't beat it up, or else you're going to pay the consequences. So what I do before I go on usually is I try to put on somebody else's CD that I really like and just sing through that with them.
That's cool.
And so I'm not standing back there running scales and stuff, which I've never been able to maintain. It's just too boring, you know. But
That's so funny.
you have to do something to get from just the person walking down the street to the person who's standing there singing at the top of your lungs.
Yeah.
You know, there's got to be some kind of bridge.
Whose CD did you listen to most recently to warm up to?
Lucinda Williams.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
I love Lucinda.
Yeah. Do you think you're better?
Better?
Because people in here might.
Well, that's not fair, because she's a whole different genre and everything. But I just like how spare and her intent is so pure, and she's so real.
Yeah.
She's a fantastic lyricist.
Yeah.
Simple but great. So anyway, so I listened to her earlier.
She Talks to Angels, Black Crows.
Yeah.
Same Z's. It's my go-to karaoke song.
Really?
So I was very excited. I think we probably sound identical, but why that song? I know you spoke a little bit about, you know, respecting the artist and respecting the songs, but that one in particular, why did you choose that one?
That song spoke to me always. From the first moment I heard it, I first heard it back in the late 80s, or whenever the Black Crows had it on the radio. And they were opening for Heart. And so we would be back there putting on makeup and stuff before our set, and hear the Black Crows out there playing their set, and then they'd play She Talks to Angels, and it would just jump out of the set. And I would run up on stage and just watch it. The song resonated with me.
Yeah.
And every time I hear it, I have to go into it. So I thought, I want to sing it. You know,
Yeah.
I relate to it.
How great
I
is
think
that?
a lot of people really relate to it. You can see it in their eyes when they're listening, you know.
I looked around the room when you were singing that one. Everybody's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
now, I heard, and you can say, Carolyn, you're wrong. Were you shopping at Fry's Electronics in Concord
Yeah.
a couple of days ago?
It was yesterday. We were at Fry's out in Concord because my husband has a printer in our hotel room and they needed a cord, so we had to go in there.
So you went for a printer cord?
Yeah, for a printer cord, yeah.
That's awesome.
I kind of feel about shopping at Fry's the same way I feel about being the wife that goes to Home Depot. Where at first it's pretty fun and it's kind of romantic and, it's the like a man's domain kind of. And then after a while you're like, oh, wow.
Yeah, it's rough. You have to think of it like a sport.
Right.
Like it's a marathon, right?
Right,
You have to pace yourself.
I like the smell of the lumber, but it's really far.
Totally.
It's,
I feel the same about cut grass.
Yeah.
Like I like it, but I don't want to do the work.
No.
But I like the after. So when you go into a store like that, like a Fry's or a bigger store, and they're always playing music overhead, are you secretly inside like, if a heart song doesn't come on, I am calling for a manager? Like, are you hoping?
No, on the contrary. If I'm in Home Depot or Fry's and a heart song comes on, and I'm sort of like, oh God, no. Or like in the dentist's office or the elevator.
Yeah,
one of
for
those
sure.
the late night in the grocery store.
Yeah. I think it's safe to say you've had an amazing career. All these moments, all these people you've met, all these venues you've played at. I mean, if you had to tell us, and I'm asking you to tell us, what you appreciate the most from this whole experience, like what's the one takeaway where you go, I'm really glad I had that experience, or this happened, or I learned this. Can you pinpoint it to one?
I can pinpoint it to two.
Okay.
And that's pretty good for all these years.
Yeah.
The best thing that I've take from all these experiences and all the shows and all the ceremonies and awards and stuff like that are the people. I used to think when I first started making money, I thought that was great.
Yeah.
When I first started, somebody'd give you a gold record or something, I thought that was great. But at this point, most important and valuable thing are the people that we meet. And working this last year with the Ann Wilson thing and with my solo thing in general in small places means that we get in much closer contact with people. And we actually get to, I get to go to Fry's.
Mm-hmm.
And
I'm sure Fry's would appreciate that.
Not living in a bubble of private plane, hotel, that kind of stuff, doing it more real.
Yeah.
And then the other thing I think that I've really taken from this is that when it's up, it's way, way, way up, and when it's down, it's pretty frustrating. But the through line for me is that I can do it. I can be flexible. I can live with tons of amenities. I can live without any amenities. I can do it.
Yeah.
I can pull it off.
That's incredible. To be able to
I believe
balance
in myself.
that. Yeah. You have to have confidence.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I'm taking you back, 70s and 80s, women in rock and roll, right? You're trying to make a name, and you're trying to prove we're just as good as the guys. We can sing. Listen to us. And you've got Debbie Harry from Blondie, and you've got Pat Benatar, and you've got Stevie Nicks. You've got all these great rock and roll women. How is that when you're doing your thing and they're doing theirs, and you have the same goal? You're women in rock and roll. Are you competitors, or are you supporting each other? How does that dynamic work?
When we first started out, back in the mid-'70s, way back then, radio was so different, as you know, and they had a thing where women on the air were sort of a novelty still. So you could play one woman per hour, and then if Joan Baez had a song out, say, you're out of luck till next hour,
That's crazy.
So I suppose in those days we were a little bit of competitors for airtime.
Yeah, yeah.
But I never felt competitive with any women.
Yeah.
What women in rock had to go through and still have to go through it sometimes now is just fighting other battles, like being taken seriously, not being related to purely for your sexual merits. And I'm not pulling anything down from what's going on in the outside world right now. I'm just talking about the show business industry. And so there are other battles to be fought besides competing with each other. You know, every woman I've met, Stevie and Grace Slick, and you know, all the ones I've met of all generations seem to really welcome each other.
That's
and
cool.
support
Camaraderie.
each other. Yeah.
Thank you for educating me on my career, because I did not know that about women in radio, that we used to only be able to play one. It's funny, you know, the station that I work for, The Breeze, I actually schedule the music for the station as well, and I'm always like, okay, woman, guy, male, female. You know, I had no idea it was that different back then, but that makes sense.
Yeah, it was kind of like, well, and then we have to play the token woman this hour, you know.
Poor Anne, we're going to give her a spin.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, as far as, you know, you performing on stage, is it true that you are more comfortable performing on a stage in front of thousands and thousands of people than just a one-on-one?
Yeah, I am getting better at that, I think, because I'm married to someone who doesn't allow a bunch of, does not respond well to a bunch of artifice, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm getting better at it one-on-one. But yeah, up on stage I seem to be really at home. I feel like I can just open myself up.
Yeah, we heard that.
Yeah.
And we liked you opening up.
I mean, with honesty, you know, with vulnerability and
Yeah.
yeah.
I know you're so modest that you would not bring this up on your own, but Anne has a new documentary out. I don't know if you guys have checked it out. Anne Wilson in Focus, and it is so cool. It's kind of like this, but you get to go in her tour bus. You get to go inside her home. It's really, really cool. So again, Anne Wilson in Focus. What was that like to shoot that and be so vulnerable, to open up your home and your tour bus? I mean, what is that like to have a camera? You're like oh my gosh, you're not a Kardashian. I'm not saying that. But you're like a reality show. That's so sad. Kardashians is the first thing that pops up in my mind, but you're so vulnerable then.
Yeah, and it took me a little bit of, you know, I had to undo my own fist about it because I came from a world in heart where you were never shot from the wrong angle. You always had makeup. You always had hair. There was always somebody policing everything to make sure that the only stuff that was ever seen by people or heard by people was perfected.
Yeah.
And so when you make a documentary where you open up yourself and your bus and your home and everything, and it's real, you got to relax about that stuff a little bit.
It's got to be weird to get used to that, you know? I mean, you're so used to cameras and lights and being on stage, but you sort of know that that's like an hour and a half or a 2-hour thing, and then you're out, right?
Yeah.
Then you go back in the green room, or you go on your bus. Yeah. But there, it's like, well, they're gonna have a crew's coming back at 9. You know?
really.
Yeah.
And they're going to be up when you first come out of your bedroom. They'll be in the kitchen making
Those are
coffee.
the shots they want.
Yeah.
Are you kidding? That's what we all want to see.
Right.
What do you have coming up? I know the Ann Wilson thing, your solo tour, amazing. So are you working on an album? What's going on?
Yeah, I'm working on a project now that is really dear to me, and it's a collection of songs by artists who have departed in the last couple of years.
Wow.
And you know, George Michael,
Leonard
Leonard Cohen, David Bowie,
Glenn Frey, maybe?
Glenn Frey,
Tom Petty,
Chris Cornell,
Chester
Bennington.
Ooh.
Yep, all those guys. And I just, you know, I felt for even Percy Sledge.
Shut up. I'm holding on to my seat. Are you serious?
Yeah. So it's really fun, and it's just as a singer, you know, I get to choose these songs that really speak to me, and we're going to do that. Working on that now.
What a compliment to any artist, you know, to have Ann Wilson cover, especially, you know, after they passed away. It's like, we still respect your music, and here's somebody so awesome who, you know, who's going to honor you. That's cool.
Yeah.
Can I ask you about the Kennedy Center performance?
Sure, yeah.
Oh my gosh, right?
Oh, what a night.
Last time I checked, that video had, I'm probably underestimating, 20 million views or something. I mean, it was huge. What goes through your mind as a performer when you're about to go out and perform Led Zeppelin's Stairway to Heaven in front of Led Zeppelin and the president and everybody else. I mean, what happens backstage? Tell me, what happened? What did you guys do before you went out?
Well, that was Nancy and I without the band. It was just the two of us with a stage band and a choir and all that orchestra. And I think we kept our minds pretty much focused on the ball, which was the song itself. And, we didn't let ourselves think about how many people would see it on YouTube or how many people were watching it on TV, or the fact that the president and the first lady were there, or Dustin Hoffman or Stephen Colbert or David Letterman, Yo-Yo Ma, all the people that were there in the audience. The audience was just full of these incredible artistic luminaries that if we would have let ourselves trip on that, we would have. Yeah. But we didn't. So we just kept looking at each other's eyes right before we were supposed to walk on, and we just said, "Okay, let's just do this song." Yeah. Let's just. And I had to remember the words and all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of words.
You did. You did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a very sublime night.
I'm going to ask you the cheesiest question, but I genuinely want to know, and I know I'm not the only one in this room that wants to know the answer to this. What is your favorite song to sing? Favorite song? I mean, you've done so much between, Heart, solo stuff, and Wilson covers. What?
The favorite song? Boy, that is
I know,
really
cheesy.
not
It's
fair.
okay. I said cheesy first.
I don't know. It's probably going to be one of the new ones I'm working on. I'm really liking this Leonard Cohen song called A Thousand Kisses Deep.
Ooh.
That is, I'm really liking that. And, I love the Tom Petty. Yeah. Luna. Yeah. I mean, those songs I've been working on and trying to figure out how to put them across. And they're in my head when I wake up now. So, wow. You know how you wake up and there's something just going, hello, in your brain, and it's with you all day. Yeah. Well, then we benefit from that. So thank you. All right. Good. Before I let you go, I want you guys to know that it's obviously Thanksgiving week, and I've gotten to know Anne over the past couple of years. I interviewed her a couple of years ago at a radio station here in the building, and I love her. And they came to me and said, "Do you want to interview Ann Wilson?" And I'm like, yeah, I think. Let me see if I can fit her into my schedule. And this has never happened to me, but after the interview, a couple days later, I got an email, and it was from Ann Wilson. And I'm like, who's this? What is somebody punking me? What is happening? And so it was so sweet. It said, "Carolyn, I really dug our interview. I like your vibe, and you seem cool. Do you want to come to Thanksgiving dinner?" You guys, shut up. It happened. That happened. That's how this happened. So I immediately printed up the email and ran to my friend Val's office, our marketing director, and was like, "Will you verify this email address before I show up at someone's Thanksgiving dinner in the Bay Area?" And it was you. Yeah. And we have become friends over the past couple years, and I'm so genuinely grateful for your friendship. And I just want you guys to know she's the real deal. You love her because she's Ann Wilson, and you've watched her perform over the years, but she's really this great. She's really, really cool. And she is here this week on vacation to see her family and Dean's family, her husband. And I said, "Would you come do this performance for our listeners on iHeart 80s and The Breeze?" And she was like, "Yeah, I'll do that." So she's not getting paid. She's here because she's so sweet. So I'm here for love, baby. I'm here for love. Thank you. Thank you.
And I genuinely just love you. I have a lot of friends here in the audience tonight, and they know I just love you. So thank you for your generosity and for spending your night with us. And guess what, you guys? You get to take pictures with Ann Wilson now. Woo! And she has blue hair, which is super fun. So our fantastic team is we're going to stay in here. You guys are going to go outside. We're going to take your pictures. And I know the guys are going to give you instructions, but we'll get you all set up with photos so you all go away with Ann photos. And also, I want to tell you one other thing before I let you all go. Another nice Ann thing. Before Ann came out to do the performance, I was talking to her personal assistant, Emma, who's in the background. And Emma said, you know, Anne really wants to leave everybody with like a personal touch tonight, you know, and so she hand-signed photos for you, tour posters. And they're legit, you guys. It's like silver Sharpie,
Yeah,
because she wanted you to have something. So
some are a little bit smudged. I'm sorry, but
you know what? Smudge is good. You can't you can't duplicate smudge. So we're gonna take your picture, and then they're gonna hand you these tour posters autographed by Anne in her hotel room. You know, and you get to take them home. So another round of applause for Ann Wilson.
thank you. Thank you, Carolyn. This
Oh.
has been really a
Absolutely.
great thing. Thank
Absolutely.